For the past year or so, various commentators have floated the idea that, maybe we lost World War II in the long term. As the theory goes, yes, we defeated the Axis powers, saved the West, and so on, but it was a temporary victory because instead of fighting us on the battlefield, the enemies of Western civilization have spent the better part of the last century simply walking in through the front door. And now they're all here. And as a result, the argument goes, many of those sacrifices, hundreds of thousands of casualties, were made in vain. Now, in response, it's become fashionable to decry these commentators as members of the so-called woke right, just to not even engage with the thought at all. And it's certainly easy to dismiss their claims for various reasons, and many people have done so. But it becomes a lot harder to dismiss these arguments when you listen to the words of actual veterans of World War II, people who I certainly hope would not be labeled woke right by the commentariat on X. And many of them are now stating in sum and substance that the war wasn't worth it, that we didn't actually win, that we're losing everything they fought for. They're taking a look around the country and the West in general, and they're recoiling in disgust. Here's one example that you may have seen. This is from an interview on Fox 13 in Tampa. Listen.
And people don't realize what they have. They bitch about it. They do. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised. Not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. And that's not what our boys, that's not what they died for.
That's very upsetting to watch. It's become a pretty big genre of footage online. Many veterans of World War II are saying the same thing, one after another. So you may have seen this clip, which went very viral online. This is from Good Morning Britain, and it's truly a very difficult clip to watch, just like the last one was. It features British World War II veteran Alec Penstone, who is now 100 years old, and he served in the Royal Navy during the D-Day invasion. This is the kind of man whose opinion of the state of things right now we should listen to and take very seriously. And listen. Now when you watch that, maybe you didn't notice the headlines crawling across the bottom there. And one of them said, police are looking for Algerian sex offender released in error. That's what the headline said. So the whole thing is, you couldn't ask for a better or, a clearer or more tragic illustration of where we are right now, that you've got this elderly man saying the sacrifice wasn't worth it, look what this country has become. And then as he is saying that, Algerian sex offender released from prison in error. Now it's hard enough to listen to what Alec Penstone is saying. He fought in some of the most pivotal battles of World War II. Many of his friends died in the war. And now he looks around Britain and he sees a country that's been completely conquered. When he was in his 20s and 30s and 40s, Britain didn't have more than 1 million Africans. They barely had any African migrants at all. Britain was full of British people. And they didn't arrest people for exercising their free speech rights, nor did they mutilate children in the name of gender ideology. It was a cohesive, wealthy, sane British country. And all of that has changed. And yet somehow, even after hearing all this from Alec Penstone himself, the female host manages to make the clip even worse. And as it goes on, it gets worse, because it goes on for another minute or two. We'll only play the first minute, but she's talking to this man in this grating tone, talking to him like she's a kindergarten teacher and he's a 4-year-old upset because he misses his mommy. She's not addressing him like he is a grown man, an elderly man who fought for her country and deserves respect. And when he's telling you something like this, you should listen to him and want to hear more. Not, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. Basically cuts him off in the most patronizing tone imaginable before he can elaborate on why exactly the country has gone to hell. But there's nothing particularly controversial about what he said, even in Britain. It's now the prevailing sentiment in the country that Britain's culture has been subverted and destroyed by open borders. This is from the Daily Mail, quote, research from King's College London and pollsters at Ipsos found that 8 in 10 said they felt the nation was divided, up 5 percentage points from 2 years ago and 10 points from 2020, and half of the public said Britain's culture was changing too fast. Most strikingly, the findings found that the national pride across all age groups also plummeted, with less than half, 46%, saying they were proud of their country, down 10 points from 2020. Now, why might that be? The Anchorwoman's co-host, a man named Adil Ray, probably has some ideas as to why the West has fallen. why no one feels any national pride anymore. Even though he's a British TV host, Adel Ray recently had some thoughts about the mayoral election in New York. And here's what he wrote earlier this month. This is one of the guys that was sitting. This is the guy that was sitting on the couch with the veteran. Some say Mamdani may implement Sharia law. He might. The heart of Sharia is social justice, welfare, fairness, charity, and cohesion. Most Muslim countries operate a hybrid of Sharia and civil law, are slowly reforming and abandoning unethical practices despite the West's portrayal. So it's good to have Sharia law. It's a good thing to have Sharia law in New York, he says. Yes, those are the words of a TV host who just pretended to be shocked, absolutely shocked, that a World War II veteran was unhappy with the state of Britain and how it's changed for the worse. He's openly endorsing Sharia law, saying it's not so bad. And he kept his job after this. He was allowed to interview this veteran and not completely clueless about what Alec Penstone was getting at. What do you mean by that? He asked incredulously. Well, he openly represents exactly what Mr. Penstone was talking about. He is the problem, along with his co-host. Of course, they act like they don't understand what he's talking about, but everybody knows. The man fought for his country, and today he looks around and sees that it has surrendered itself to a third world invasion. Men like him, white men who built his country, are demonized and scapegoated again and again. And while lawless migrants rape and kill in the street, the government focuses its energies on arresting people who say insulting things about, transgenders on the internet. That's what he means. That's what he sees in his final years. He gave everything to the cause of preserving Western civilization, and now the thing that he fought to preserve is slipping away. It was sacrificed on the altar of multiculturalism. It was surrendered by, smiley, patronizing liberals shouting slogans like diversity is our strength. He fought for his country, for England, and today England is gone. So of course he thinks it wasn't worth it. And the really awful truth is that, as difficult as it may be to admit, and as much as the sing-songy anchorwoman doesn't want him to say it, he might be right. But that's ultimately up to us to decide. Will we pull Western civilization back from the brink, or let it die?